Jehovah Raah. 2 A's, Jehovah Raah. It simply means the Lord is my shepherd. And man, what a perfect song. Who picked that out? Jay, was that you? Chucky, the team, whatever. Perfect song. That was awesome. I was so worshiping to that song. That song is the same one that, that King David wrote in the 23rd Psalm. We all know it. What a comforting psalm. What a great, great song that David wrote. And try to put yourself in David's spot and try to see this young man, David, who had lived his life trusting in Yahweh, the God of Israel. Try to imagine him as this young, ruddy, handsome guy, the smallest and the youngest of his brothers and of his father's household. And he's out tending to the sheep, doing the job that is for the lowest in the household. And how he took great pride in taking care of those sheep, and how he understood the sheep and their relationship to the shepherd. And he put that comparison to his heavenly Father. And he said, the Lord, Yahweh is my shepherd. He uses right there in the 23rd Psalm, Jehovah Raah, the Lord is my shepherd. And I'm telling you, there's a sermon on almost every single emphasis in every single word in this psalm. Can you imagine that? David, as he's looking at the sheep and him as the shepherd, now he's making that comparison. The Lord is my shepherd. In other words, he's a sheep and the Lord is his shepherd. He says, I shall lack nothing. Nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you, Jehovah Raah, are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely, goodness and love, mercy will follow me all the days of my life. And I'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Whoa, we really connect with that psalm. People have throughout all time. How come? Because we are those sheep. And it all begins with the Lord is my shepherd. He's good. Jehovah Raah, he's going to take care of my every need. And I am his sheep. I'll never forget Tommy. He was quite a little guy. Came to know Jesus very young in his life, about 8 years old. He was after us, He wanted Jesus to be the Lord of his life. He wanted us to baptize him. Oh, very, very young. And so he used to write little notes to his mama, and he'd draw a little picture of a little sheep. And he said, I am one of God's sheep, I want to get baptized. And at that young age, he knew he was one of God's little sheep. And that's what we are. We're the sheep of his pasture. He is Jehovah Raah. He is the one who cares for us. He's the one that takes care of everything that we could ever need or want. I'm reminded of the story about a little girl, and she went shopping with her mama. And before they went into the store, the little girl said, Mama, have you got some Kleenex? And she said, well, honey, what do you need some Kleenex for? She said, well, there may be something in here I need to cry for. And so, she probably figured she had something she wanted. And there's so many today are in want. So many wants. And I'm just curious where you're at today. What are your wants? So many people seem to be lacking in something. That should not be our way. If we're one of God's sheep, if he's Jehovah Raah, the Lord who is my shepherd, we shouldn't be in want and in need. But I'm curious, just think about this. How many people do you know? How many people do you know that are truly, truly satisfied in this life? How many? My young folks over here, you know, if they think about your own life, think about kids you know, are they really satisfied? Satisfied with who they are, satisfied with what they got? Young adults, how about you? Older adults. Are you satisfied? How many people do you know that are just really satisfied in life? You know, as David is talking about this sheep thing, you got to know a little bit about sheep. When he says, Lord is my shepherd, I shall lack nothing, then he begins this talk about the fact that Jehovah Raah, he provides for his sheep. He takes care of them. He takes care of their every need. So he begins with this idea that, you know, he makes me lie down in green pastures. We got to know something about sheep. I mean, they just will eat and eat and eat, you know. But here, the Lord is taking care of their provision for food and have them lying down right in this green pasture. They're completely, this is the vision of complete and total satisfaction. Lead me beside quiet waters. Restores my soul. How many people do you know are really, really satisfied? They're truly content. You can go from David all the way over to the New Testament, can't you? The Apostle Paul, he says, I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. Remember that? Where he's talking about, oh, I had plenty, I had little. I'm content in every situation. Can we say that? What is the secret to that? The secret is the shepherd. The secret is the sheep staying close to the shepherd and totally, completely dependent on the shepherd. Jehovah Raah, he takes care of his sheep. All of their needs are taken care of. Jehovah Raah. Should be a slide that has something like that on there. Go ahead. There you go. He provides for his sheep. Jehovah Raah provides all the needs for this life and the life to come. Do you know the difference between a disciple, a follower of Jesus, and just a pagan, if you will? Just somebody who is a non-believer. It's what we run after. What is it that we chase after? What is it that drives our wants and needs? Look what Jesus said, Matthew chapter 6. He says, therefore I tell you, don't worry about your life, what you'll eat or drink, or about your body, what you'll wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They don't sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? See, a disciple of Jesus Christ knows that our needs aren't met by pursuing our needs, but by pursuing Jehovah Raah and knowing that he will provide. Now, I don't know about your kids, but I know how my kids were, and I know how I was as a child. And I never remember once my children, you know, lying awake at night, talking to one another, saying, you know, Amy, Russ, are we going to have any food tomorrow? You know, are we going to have clothes to wear? Are we going to have a place to stay? And I never remembered worrying about such things when I was a kid. Why? Because we knew that Daddy would provide for our needs. And so Jesus is saying, do you truly trust in Jehovah Raah? Do you truly trust in your Heavenly Father? Why are you worrying about it? I mean, they stand in contradiction to one another. Our faith, our trust in Him, and our fears and our worries. We need to lean completely and totally on Him, that He will provide for our every needs. He will provide us everything that we need, and we need to trust it. When David says He leads us beside the quiet waters, you know, sheep would not drink out of, running water. It made them nervous. Noisy water made him nervous. So a shepherd would take and, dig out a little area and bring the water and make a nice, calm, still area. And they could be at peace. And they could drink. And just this scene David had experienced many times of the peace that came over the sheep. And the shepherd had provided that peace for him.